Welcome to my video using the Plotter post-processing app to compose designs. The Compose app is used for two main things. One, stacking things on top of each other and creating one SVG out of multiple, or creating a grid of designs, either of the same design or of multiple designs. In general, the designs should be scaled and formatted how you want them to be before combining them, as it can be rather difficult to combine them and then format them. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to locate the repository where the Plotter post-processing is been checked out. I'm going to open this up in a terminal window and Python main application.py. Let's talk about the files we're going to be using. So I'm going to be using this one. Is a series of kind of stacked shapes as they kind of rotate around the screen. That's going to be the foreground. And then this is going to be my background. So we're going to just save both of those. And see, we've got both of those that appeared here. Let me just get rid of that one. That's from an old example. If I open up both of these and I launch the Compose application, you see we get a bunch of information here. So it says 2 design files selected. The width and height is going to be just off of the first one it reads. So if they have different widths and different heights, you're going to have to contend with that. And then just this little note here, if grid and columns, or if grid rows and columns equal 1, designs are simply loaded on top of one another. So we're going to leave the grid and columns where they are. Both of these are 4 inches by 4 inches because that's how I designed them to be. And then we have concentric noise, which is this design, and then we have croissant, which is the other one. So the order is important. So we have, you can decide which one goes first and which one goes second. And then you can choose to either import with the existing stroke colors, import it as a single layer, and if you import it as a single layer, you can check this box that says overwrite it with this color. This is useful if you have multiple layers that are the same color, but you want to differentiate them into different colors. So you could choose single layer, and then we could choose this. This is a random color that's been generated that's not present in either of the files. And then I'm going to switch this back to stroke layers, and then it says condense same color layers into single color layer, or into single layer. I'm going to leave that checked, though we aren't using the same colors here, so it shouldn't really come into play. And then we're going to lay it out on a page. Now, by default, this is going to lay it out on a letter page, so that's 8.5 by 11 inches. This drop-down box, you can change it, and you'll see that these width and height numbers change, or you can just put in manually. I'm just going to put in 4 inches by 4 inches, and so we're going to lay it out on a page of that size. So here we have the page. Seems to be, for some reason, in centimeters. That's interesting. We're going to switch that over to imperial. 4 inches by 4 inches. And you can see we have the designs, and they are layered on top of one another. Layer 1 being this. Layer 2 being that. So if we confirm that, what we get out, we started with 2 files as our currently loaded files, and now we have just one. And this is going to just take the noise, or I'm sorry, it's going to take the name from the first file, which is the concentric noise, and add an _C for compose to it. So if we go to our downloads folder, you can see that we have the 2 files here, and then the compose file here. So it's important to note that it's just going to take one of the names of the files you select and add the _C. So now, let's say we want to make a grid. So next up, let's make some grids of designs. I use grids mostly for postcards and also for business cards. And it can be used to either create a grid of the same design or a grid of multiple designs. So let's see both of those things in action. Let's save some more of this croissant design that I am a fan of. I don't know why I named it croissant. None of them really look like croissants. That's 4 different designs we have here. So let's make a grid of 4 different designs. Let's reselect files, and we'll select all 4 of those. We'll launch the Compose app. You can see in the Compose app, we have a different line for each file here shown. And I'm going to leave them as, actually, you know what? Let's do single layer. Let's do overwrite the color. So each of these are going to be different colors. So that way I can plot each of them separately if I want to. You can see that the grid column width and the grid row height take the design file width and height automatically. So this is trying to, the plotter post-processing is trying to do a little bit of lifting for you so that you don't have to input everything yourself. But if you have designs that are different sizes, you are going to have to contend with that. So we're going to do just a grid of 2 by 2, and we'll lay it out on a, let's say, a piece of paper that's 8 by 8. So let's see what that looks like. Beautiful. So you can see that the units on the top here, that's 8 inches. Over on the left here, that's 8 inches. So our paper size is correct. We load all 4 of those designs in. And each one, you can see the order is going to be based on the ordering here. So if you want to do, this one last and this one first, you can just change that around, then show it. See that those have been swapped. But basically, that's it. So you can just do a grid of 4 different designs based on the column and row kind of height settings here. Now, let's reselect and just pick one file. We'll compose this. So right now, this is just the one file here. If we wanted to do a similar thing, though, we could do 2 by 2 grid of this design. Again, we can make the paper 8 by 8 if we want to, show it, and it will just take that same design and just load it in 4 different times. So you can make the same design multiple times. This is very useful, I think, for business cards, where you can just describe what one card looks like and then, create a grid of however many you want to fit whatever paper size you have. And again, we can just confirm on here when we're done with that, and you'll see that the name with the appended _C to show that it has been composed. So compose is very useful if you want to create a grid or just stack multiple designs on top of each other. So if you found this video useful, please consider supporting me over at Patreon. Thank you very much.